business members, they need to get to meetings, they can rent a car for pretty cheap. Also, people without cars, they might think car insurance is too much money, you can rent a car. And people who live in the city that don't necessarily need a car to get around too much, they can always rent a car if they need to travel a long distance at some time.
So, primary benefits that we find in Enterprise Holdings is a program that Enterprise offers called Enterprise Plus. It's offered through Enterprise and Nationals. So what Enterprise Plus is it's a lot like frequent flyer programs that airlines offer. So you get points based off your dollars that you spend either renting a car, off the mileage that you use. There's 3 different tiers to it. So there's the silver, there's the gold, and there's the platinum. You move up in those tiers depending on, so like if you look at this graph right here, to get to silver you need to have at least 6 rentals. Gold's 12 rentals for 40 days. So if you rent a car for 40 days. And then platinum's 24 days, or 24 rentals or 85 days. It's a really great program where if you continue to rent, you continue to get free and reduced things. Like you can see, just in like the gold thing, once you get to the level gold, you're actually getting 15% more points based off your dollar. It's really great for people that are always using Enterprise. Other benefits that that Enterprise offers is like an AARP discount or a senior citizen discount. Military families and members can also receive discounts. And the convenience and location. So Enterprise is located everywhere. Airports all over the United States, North America, Europe. So convenience is definitely a benefit to Enterprise customers.
So Avis Budget Group, Hertz Global Holdings, and Penske Truck Leasing are all global car rental services like Enterprise Holdings. So they are the main competitors for Enterprise Holdings, and later in the presentation we will talk about why.
Right, and the similarities between all the companies is that they're all car rental services. They all have the same overall mission, but some of the differences are Enterprise is made up of other companies such as National and Alamo, and Enterprise also offers different services. Unlike Hertz, Avis, and Penske, Enterprise actually has an exotic car department where you could rent like Italian muscle cars, American muscle cars, more luxurious, more expensive automobiles that Avis, Hertz, and Penske don't offer you.
Why would you choose Enterprise? They've maintained a really good reputation for several decades now. They're committed to customer satisfaction. They're always willing to listen to feedback and make it the best experience for you. Reasonable prices. They're really reasonable to rent a car, and convenient locations. They have a location in every single U.S. state and every major airport. So when you're traveling, say to Logan, I think they have one there. It just makes it easier to get around the city.
So price against competitors. So price against competitors, it's really hard to compare prices to each group because there's so many specific things, like the city that you're renting from, if it's a holiday, if it's not a holiday. So one thing that we decided to do for ours is pick one of the companies from each of their top competitors and compare it. So we picked City of Manchester, we picked a specific day, the economy style car. So on the next slide. So for Enterprise Rent a Car in the Manchester area on Monday, November 16th, you can rent a car at a flat rate of $29.34 before like any of the taxes and stuff. Hertz Rent a Car right in Manchester, you can rent them for $51.44 per day. Avis is $64.99 a day. And then truck leasing is a little different. Obviously, you're renting for storage and not necessarily for like driving around. So you can rent one unlimited mileage for $107.10 a day. So why we see the fluctuation? Like we were talking about with like Enterprise Plus, it really pays to be a member of some of these places. So just to take in, for example, Penske Truck Leasing. If you're a member of Penske's Truck Leasing, if you have a membership, it's 12% off whatever you're going to pay. So 12% off $107. So that's why you see a little bit of fluctuation. The size of the company, so Enterprise Rent a Car is a lot bigger than all these other companies when it comes to places where they operate, the amount of businesses that they have open. So that allows them to charge less than their competitors. And then how well the company is doing. So So obviously you can see that Enterprise is quite a bit cheaper than these, and a lot could have to do with like the city that it's located in. I'm sure if you went to like a bigger city like New York, the prices would be a lot closer. But just because Enterprise is so much bigger, they're able to charge a lot less. They still get the same amount of revenue at the end of the day.
So Enterprise Holdings has advantages moving forward. One of the advantages is they're well known, so you might recognize their commercial over their competitors. You know what they are, you know their different services they have. They have stable profits. Over the years they've had great profits, which keeps them moving forward, and they have a variety of different services like van pooling or car sharing and many different services.
Some of the disadvantages though are there are other options available to you. So with Enterprise, you actually have to go to the station, pick up the car, you have to drive yourself around. But while there's other companies such as Uber or Lyft that will come to you and drive you from where you need to go and to where you need to be, and you only pay for that specific trip, you don't have to rent the car for the whole day. And their 2014 annual sales were a lot less than Hertz, almost half, and that could affect their ability to invest in newer, more state-of-the-art cars, more fuel-efficient cars, or just have more selections all around for whatever customer that may have that come through the door.
These are our reference slides, so we decided to make them quite a bit bigger this time.
Yeah.
So everyone can read them. That's our project.
Questions? No questions? Questions, okay. I have a couple questions. You might want to go back to your slides in case I fall back. Sorry, if you guys can settle, just so we can ask some questions. So I had a couple questions. What is Hertz? Did you do much research? So you mentioned that Enterprise is the only one that has different offerings. Is anyone here aware, does Hertz have any different offerings?
What do
Is
you
a
mean by
company
that?
like similar to Enterprise, is a
So like-
holdings company, does Hertz?
Like
Yes.
the Alamo, the National, like that type of stuff?
Right,
I'm not quite sure on that.
okay, you might wanna double check, cause there might be some relationships to that, just so you learn.
Yeah.
Yep. But I liked how you presented that information on that slide, so I thought that was a good slide in terms of, the similarities and differences. The one question that I had is, who are the primary customers, if you know, of the other companies? Right, so you mentioned sort of is there any distinction in terms of who the primary customers are of the other competitors?
I know for like Penske, it's probably people moving, they're moving stuff from house to house or something like that, and it needs storage. For Penske, you don't really use that to drive around, you know what I mean, so.
Mhm.
Because they're truck leasing, so.
Yeah.
Right, but like Hertz, and so is there any that they, so who is Hertz customers compared to Enterprise's customers?
They share a similar customer base. It's all people that just need to rent a car to get around for a day or however long they're in the location that they are.
Okay,
Enterprise seems to be more of a business targeted area. It's located in airports, it's around businesses around the world.
Typically you see like a majority of Enterprise locations right around airports. So they're obviously gonna get the majority of like the vacationers and the business people that need a car right away.
okay,
Whereas like a Hertz or an Avis might have something like for a week or something that doesn't need a car right away. Or like they're located in the different cities that they're also in.
okay.
And with Uber and Zipcar might be targeted towards more college students or people who don't have cars.
Okay, all right, and I mentioned that because one thing you want to and as we go into next semester, you get to investigate this more, right? Is to think about how do those price comparisons, so you gave some nice explanations around what are some reasons for these price differentials between, but it could be also who is the primary customer, right?
Right.
In terms of, when you look at Avis, right, are more businesses, and one of those profile consumer reports talked about, consumer perception around what they prefer based on if they're business versus if they're family. So that could come into play in terms of the pricing, right? As an example, if their customers are slightly different in terms of who their primary customers are, their pricing might be able to be
Yeah.
different. So something to think about. Okay. All right. Any other questions? Okay, I'll stop there.